If you are as old as I am, you might remember a particular genre of game called text adventures. Sometimes they're also called interactive novel. What are they? Usually it's involved text. It's a lengthy description of the current location and surrounding that you are in, and it gives you an input box for you to enter some command. You can enter things like go left, go right, pick up items, use item on something, and it's all about freedom to explore and thinking outside the box. It also relies on your imagination to manipulate the environment and push the story forward, basically. There's not much hand-holding. There are no multiple choices like A, B, C for you to choose from. But the problem is usually there's just too much text. It makes it hard to keep track of the information that are thrown at you. So later, the genre developed into point-and-click adventures, and a lot of great games were made. If you remember an old game called Siberia, and I personally also consider the earliest Alone in the Dark to also be point-and-click adventures. But over the years, the focus has gradually shifted, shifting more towards photorealistic graphics and voice acting, more interactive mechanics, just in general making the genre less about text and more about visuals. So sometimes I just wish there was a game that has clean and intuitive visuals, but still rich in text, and allows me to use my own imagination to render the world. So this game, called Don't Escape 4 Days in a Wasteland, it delivers exactly that. It's like a text adventure experience with just enough visualization to make the environment clearer for me to understand, and has some convenience features like inventory, journal, and a map. The game has pretty simple mechanics. The way it works is you just have 2 to 4 directions of movement on the side of the scene. You can go up and go left, go down, you can collect items, and you can combine them by this simple crafting system in your inventory, and you can use the items on the environment. It feels just like a text adventure, plus some pixel art backdrops. Speaking of that, I always have a thing for pixel art. Pixel art can be really beautiful to look at, and without spoiling too much details, it just leaves a lot of room for imagination. The only downside is that the low resolution makes some items in the scene really hard to spot, and sometimes even if the item is not small, but I just consider it as a part of the backdrop and didn't know it was actually an item that I can interact with. Don't Escape is about surviving for 4 days in a world destroyed by some catastrophic event. Each day you have to fortify your hideout. You have a hideout to survive some life-threatening danger that comes your way. And the type of danger is random, and if you just play once, you won't experience all of them. And each day you have a different kind of danger you have to deal with. The fortification puzzles, that's what I call it, and depend a lot on just common sense, and it doesn't give you a lot of hints. So a lot of times you have to just think about, for this particular kind of danger, what can I do? What items I can use to make my home safer against them? And there are no right answers and wrong answers. You just have to think outside the box and do your best to protect your home in as many ways as you can think of. The biggest challenge in this game is time management. Every action you take will consume time, and you have only 9 to 12 hours each day to finish the job. And depending on the previous day, if you did well, then you might have more time for the next day. So every time you decide to visit a place, or you go to a place, you might want to consider what you want to do there, so you can do as much as possible without having to go back again. Overall, if you use proper common sense and explore every nook and cranny in the scenes, with some trial and error and some safe scumming, you can do fine without having to cheat or reading the walkthroughs. And the good thing is, there are none of those ridiculous trick puzzles that is from other games that make you feel like it's unfair and make you go, how am I supposed to know that? So that's a good thing. The story and writing is, in my opinion, the biggest highlight for this game. Have you played those games where the dialogues are just so bland, predictable, and forgettable? Like this game? Or the dialogues try to be so cool and original and indie, and you don't understand half of it. But that's not the case with this game. Everything a character says has a purpose, either to build the characters, or reveal something about the background, or just push the story forward. My favorite character is Kate, and the things that she says usually are pretty sarcastic and witty sometimes. And I just love just asking her everything about the location and what she thinks about the other characters. Usually she will say something pretty funny. The dialogues are not perfect though. There are some emotional moments where the dialogues can be a little cheesy, but those moments are few and far between, so it doesn't really bother me that much. Speaking of emotions, this game really did a great job connecting you to the characters emotionally. I'm not going to explore any details, so it's up to you to find out. What's really cool is when you have a party around you, like more than one person in your party, these people will start talking to each other about some random things. It makes the characters feel alive and real. And the fact that there are no voiceover, it really helps you fill in the blanks with your own imagination. Like the tone of their speech, their facial expressions, you can't see them in pixel art. It just can't achieve this with AAA quality games. One last thing I wanted to mention is the atmosphere. This game does a fantastic job with ambient sound. Every quote-unquote room that you enter will have its own unique ambience. And the music will come at just the right time to pluck your feelings. Sometimes it makes me feel despair. Sometimes it makes me feel sad, hopeless, even lonely. But even though it's a 2D pixel art game, it actually has dynamic lighting on most of the scenes, depending on the time of the day or the weather that's coming. Especially in your hideout. The fireplace, when you light it up, it makes the living room all warm and cozy. The kitchen also has two different shadows depending on whether the back door is open. I thought that was pretty cool. Overall, for the price of $15 on Steam, this one's one of the best adventure games I ever played. I think the puzzles are fair and interesting, the story is engaging, and the characters are worth investing my emotions in. I actually I feel like I care about the characters. And all these are tied together by an absolutely well-designed atmosphere. So, on my 0 to 10 must-buy gauge, Don't Escape 4 Days in the Wasteland scored a solid 8. I believe it's a must-buy for any of you who love text adventures. Well, that's it, folks. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. If you don't, please hit the dislike button. But I'd like to hear what you think about this game in the comments down below. Until next time, Sweater out.